Hey, Secret House Against the World, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture, conversations, album discussions, and review. And today we've got the original triumvirate right here in studio. We want to get these album reviews off before Spade heads back to the United States for a few months, and then he'll be back. But, you know, Jed and I will hold it down in the meantime. Today we are reviewing the new No Name project.
Sundial.
Sundial. 11 songs, about 31 minutes. It is actually releasing August 11th, which is in a few days. We were lucky enough to get the album early to give it a spin so we can drop a review before Spade leaves. And yeah, No Name is an MC, poet, black radical artist, activist from Chicago. This is her third full-length project. I believe technically it's the sophomore release because Telephone was just a mixtape, perhaps.
Room 25 is
Room 25 is the debut, and then this. This is her third full length after a somewhat long hiatus away from music as she focused on, in 2019, she started the No Name Book Club, which focuses on radical literature from black people of color, from a, radical as in leftist politics. And she's been doing that. Full disclosure, one of the reasons that we've got this album early is because No Name is one of our patrons of our small but delightful kind of lefty leaning channel. Not only reason I say kind of lefty leaning is because it's 2 out of 3. It's like 3 out of 5.
Ironically,
you know what I mean?
the guy on the left.
The guy on the left is the only one that doesn't really subscribe to that. But yeah, so we're socialists here, and she is our highest paying Patreon. And several months back, I think that there was a point where I was wondering if we would review the album, if we were going to be able to keep it as objective enough towards an actual critique that wasn't just glowing because obviously we're fans of her. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, yo, bro, like we get hit up by artists that we like and respect and love all the time. And one of the important things about fandom is to have that critical critique. We're not ravenous fans that think that everything that she's going to do or anything that an artist does is great. We're grown-ass men, and I can have a very serious critical critique of her work without my analytical instrument will not prevent me from finding things that I feel might be flaws or dislikes in the quality of her work. So what we like to do as we get into an artist that we have not reviewed on the channel before and we have not reviewed her, how do you know No Name?
Because you guys.
A word.
What?
Oh, interesting. I thought you might be on that because she was kind of. Were you a Saba fan or a Chance the Rapper fan?
See, I said I've heard of her, heard a couple bars, but like I said, I wasn't as on as you guys. You guys champion her. Okay. Me, I was just a casual drive-by listener.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Jet?
Yeah, I've been a fan for a long time. Just basically, there was some point circa 2017 when I came to Japan where it was like anytime I'd go to like a cool party, Telephone would be on rotation. And I'd always be like, yo, who's this person? She's fucking dope. And sure enough, yeah, that's how I became a fan. So yeah, maybe 5-6 years now I've been a fan of No Name.
Well, I was doing Mega Late Show for a long time, which was a Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture podcast here, #1 in Japan. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe the only one. but we were dope, and we had a lot of famous people come through, and we'd also keep our toes in the water and listening to new artists. And Chance the Rapper's album, Acid Rap,
yep.
She was featured on that, and that was kind of my first introduction.
Yes, yeah.
When Telephone came out, I was like, wow, she's really dope. And when Room 25 came out, I could not stop talking about it. In fact, I talked about it probably on 10 consecutive podcasts, some of which were with some of the dopest artists out. Like Ali Shaheed Mohammed and Adrian Young were ranting and raving with me about how dope it was. Mark DeClivelo ranting and raving how dope it was. And just, from local cats to some of the most amazing cats. And that's where I really began to just appreciate her artwork. After she took her hiatus, of course, I saw her kind of political evolution happening, and it endeared me to her even more than before. And now I think that she is one of the most important voices in hip hop music. I think she's one of the most original voices. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody who is as vocal about actual leftist black liberatory politics as her. I think it's like her and fucking Boots Riley, Billy Woods, and there's a lot of artists who are leftists and have leftist album titles and leanings and critiques and stuff, but she's actually out there doing the work and more than just a cog in the musical machinery of radical politics, but also like fucking read a book. And you guys know how big I am into reading books. Also, speaking of which, Caltrops Press.
That's
Link in the
a
bio.
damn good segue.
But yeah, reading, and she's just phenomenal to me. And if we can get right into the album,
Can I?
you want to be the first one?
Yeah.
Rochambeau. I think we're all really hyped to talk about it.
I'm gonna try not
go
to
for
get
it.
emotional when I do this, because like dead ass.
I got emotional.
I was
dog.
emotional as hell listening to.
I
this
got
album.
emotional too.
Like, bro, I damn near cried.
Hold on, time out. I hit y'all up. I said, I'm real lonely. This album is great. Don't somebody talk to me. I hit y'all up and I was like, scene. It was
No. I was the first one to listen.
You were the
to
first
this
to
album.
listen to it. Yep.
And
Yeah.
you guys left me hanging. I was like,
I was
bro,
scared.
I'm 5 in. I'm just like, dude, this is.
No,
Album
so
of the
I
year.
was with my girlfriend, and like we were hanging out, and I was cooking. Yeah, feminism. Let's go. I was cooking for her while she's like slacked off in bed. She's still at work. I'm on vacation, so yeah, I was cooking, and I could see just like my phone just bing, 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 bing.
Yeah,
Marcus
same.
L. Spade Johnson. L. Spade Johnson. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
He's like, guys.
Spade's never this active in the
Guys.
group chat, and you're just at every single track. Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever heard. This shit's incredible. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put it on. So I put it on while I was cooking, and I was like, all right, I'm going to just count this as a passive listen because, I want to give this the headphones treatment, but while I'm cooking.
Let me say,
Go off.
everything was great. The mix, the singing, the imagery, the content, the balance, the production, everything was hitting on point. You can tell that she sat down and thought about this and cooked. Man, it's cooked. I'm talking about it did more than cook, man. It simmered for like about a good 12 hours, slow cooking, getting all them herbs and spices matriculating great. It was just,
We might say she put her ankle in it.
man, the whole knee in that junk, dog. But so, I don't know if you guys remember this. I said this like back when me and Mega kind of got into it with that last Billy Woods album. I don't ingest my music like most people. I don't try to look for a lot of meaning in my music because a lot of music's subjective and it's cryptic. And if it's so cryptic that sometimes you can get a meaning that you don't know. Like you can have your own meaning, but unless you get it from the artist, you don't know. So I don't like to just say how I feel about music, although I do glean a lot of important stuff out of it. But this one, it was so great to me because a lot of people in this conscious sphere like to give you super cryptic messages to the point that you kind of gotta reach and grab for it. And if the sorry man, give me time, sorry. If the point of conscious rap is to try to uplift black people to another plane or to listen to another plane, and you're super cryptic with it, I gotta ask, what are you doing it for? This album doesn't fall into that trap. It's right direct in your face. The metaphors hit you. You know where she stands. You don't have to second guess. It's wrapped all up in this nice little pill that's hard to damn swallow. And I just love the shit. Everything about this album was, I would say, a combination of everything I wanted when I started this review show with these guys. When I say stuff I don't want, this is what I wanted. Like, this is everything to me. And if you think I'm saying this because she's a Patreon, fuck you. This album is
Spade
like,
ain't seen none of that money yet, actually. I ain't giving a dollar for that shit.
If you think that's why I'm saying this, fuck you. Listen to this, man. She puts together the flow so damn competently. And I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna let y'all go out.
All right, yeah. So there was a little bit of a hiccup there, but to get right back into it, first off, I don't conscious rap, just not even there, right? Like I have nothing to say about conscious rap. I hate the term and I've never liked it. But to your point about like it being so abstract that you have a hard time gleaming what is being said about it, the opposite end of that is it being very slogan-esque, where it's just like, black people gotta get free, unionize, do this. And there was a part of me that was a little bit worried about that getting into this album. It's like, because while I love politically radical music and such, sometimes I'll come across an artist who is a leftist and they're saying things that are very important, but I have always leaned more towards the experimental, the avant-garde, the wild, the further left, the unconventional sound, the Afro Futurist type of sound. And the way that she's able to weave all of these deep, important topics in a way that still maintains a very rich, vibrant musicality and flow and accessibility is of tremendous importance.
Brilliant.
And you know, speaking of like Boots Riley, shout out. And if you haven't seen I Am Virgo, watch that. If you haven't listened to The Coup, listen to that. If you haven't watched Sorry to Bother You, pay attention to that. And like Boots, he never made music that was just like, now it's time to start the revolution. Let's go start the revolution. Are you with me? It wasn't like that. It was just musical shit. Like, sometimes you got to kill your landlord, but let's go get funky with it. And this album, while there is such a rich kind of spread of a bunch of different ideas, everything from, her thoughts on military industrial complex and black stardom, her thoughts on beauty standards in the I want to go track for track for a lot of these things. Some of these things, like, they're very pointed, they're very right there, but they're also just like
delivered in a very beautiful package.
Good music, bro. Like, as soon as the first track came on, I said, okay, all of my worries, I don't got to worry about none of that shit that I was, like, she's just like,
me and I was like, oh my God.
You talking about the second joint, or the first one?
Black Mirror.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Like, and she hit you with like a socialism sister. It's like, There's not enough people saying that type of shit, but man, she goes into so many topics on this album, and one of the things that I got from this album that I was not expecting is joy. It made me. Like, there was a couple times I got emotional, and towards the end of the album, that Woods verse, that Woods verse, man, like,
so hard.
He's so amazing, and for her to link up with him as another one of the champions, like, we'll get into that. I kind of want to go like track for track for a couple of these things, but Jet, like, what are your general, you know what I mean?
I mean, sonically, it's immaculate. And I believe the version that I listen to is a slightly older version. There might be some tweaks on the mix on the retail release. I don't know the specifics.
She sent us a message today, and I told you guys, like, check out the new mastered version of.
I didn't get around to it. Okay. I believe Boom Boom Boom, the fourth track on the album. Yeah. It might have a slightly different mix to the one that I've heard. But yeah, sonically, I mean, the palettes on here, like the harmonies, some of the really like complex and interesting chord sequences going on. Every producer on here like really, really put their foot in it.
There are a variety of producers on here as well, and many of which I was just not familiar with. Saba has a few tracks that he produced on this with a person named Ben Nartley. Her and Saba go way back to the earliest points of their careers, I imagine, both being Chicago artists. Shout out to Chicago, man. Fucking Fred Hampton, you know what I mean? But we've got Daoud. We've got a person named Slim Wave. There is another person named Emil, I think. Nascent, perhaps. AJ Halls. There's a cat named Berg produced the last joint. And for most of these producers outside of like Saba and such, I'm how would you pronounce that? Gatem Judd?
Gatem Judge, yeah.
Gatem Judd? Gatem Judd. Yeah. He got 2 joints on this. Fucking fire. He produced gospel.
Yeah.
And he also produced hold on. I'm gonna hit y'all with the factoids, because I got factoids here.
As if gospel wasn't enough.
You know what I mean? He produced that, and Hold Me Down.
Oh, Hold Me Down.
Hold Me Down.
Hold Me
the second
Down,
track
so damn dope.
with Jametta Rose, and the Voices of Creation. There's a lot of features on this album too.
A lot of features, but it all comes together really, really well. The only thing I will say about the features is that because they're all such distinctive characters, for better and for worse, there are times where I don't want to say it takes away from the cohesiveness of the record, because it's a very cohesive record, but I did end up being like, I feel like I was slightly taken out. Like my immersion was maybe a little so you know when you watch like you watch a really good movie and
Common
then, like,
shows up.
Samuel L. Jackson or Common
Common
shows
shows
up.
up. Like,
Common
right.
shows up.
Yeah,
and
Common
you're like,
shows
oh
up.
hey, it's Common.
Yeah.
Like War
Okay,
for
yeah.
Chocolate. Or you know, Samuel L. Jackson plays Samuel L. Jackson in so many movies,
yeah.
right? And I definitely like when Jay Electronica came on here and he's like, you know, I'm the Elohim, like Rothschilds. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I like his verse on there anyway, but
he's
like
dope on
it's
it,
gonna be controversial, I'm sure. But like,
Sure.
I thought that was a
was
great
already
choice,
was.
though.
I think he's a
love
good
that.
fit. I think he's a good fit. But I think rather than getting completely lost in the record, the presence of some of these really like big name
I think that adds
features.
to it, though.
Fair. No, this is
adds.
absolutely my own personal taste on
Well,
here.
you know, on Gospel, which has Silk Money and
Silk Money and
Woods,
Daily Woods, yep.
No Name's verse is the shortest on that track.
Yes.
And I think like, you know, maybe it's like 8 bars and then like a bridge or a chorus, and then Silk Money has 16 bars and Woods has an epic poem that
Okay.
I just don't even, you know what I mean? Like,
I know we're gonna get into it, but real quick, who had the best verse on there? 'Cause I'll say the homie Silk did. Killed everybody on that junk.
I didn't even view it as that. Like all of them were saying like different things. It was just like it was more or less just like, all right, let's hear how everybody does this. Because if we're gonna get into that Woods joint, is he talking? Is that like supposed to be him in his childhood going to a Robert Mugabe speech?
Right.
That's what I was thinking, and that shit is crazy. But you know, going back to just the features, and even having Saba, who's one of the great artists of this generation on there, like No Name, she mixes it up in all of the little like added features that I didn't even know would be on there. Like Jametta Rose is always been amazing. Everybody go check her out. Holding it down for Los Angeles for a long time. She's worked with a lot of the guys in the kind of Project Blowed underground West Coast sphere as just an incredible artist. All of them add something to it. And there is also, what I like about it is there is a spectrum of kind of blackness on this album, because look, she got a lot of flack for having Jay Electronica on the album, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't look into it too much. I'm not a person that is really concerned about individuals for the most part, unless they have a weird amount of power to really affect material change in the world. So Jay Electronica and his Nation of Islam, black capitalist, esoteric politics that come into play, like that is something that is so deeply entrenched in almost. Common has similar takes.
Yes.
Common is right there. Ice Cube is right there. L Spade is right there. I even used to be a 5%er. I grew up. That was my first introduction to black radical politics at age 15. I held a lot of those things. And this spectrum of blackness is like, we can look at these different things and take different parts of them and not have to essentialize this person as like good or bad. And on this album, No Name is just kind of celebrating all types of black shit.
That's why
Yes.
I told y'all on the
And
group
she
chat.
also kicking a lot of bullshit in a way.
I don't
like,
fuck with
yeah.
NFL or Jay-Z. I'm like, man, look, man, I said this on the group chat. I was like, this sounds black in the black. Like,
Oh, yeah, it is black.
the blackest album I've heard in the last 15 to 20 years.
It is undeniably black because her and look, your average liberal person will listen to this and be like, wow, she came at Rihanna. Wow, she came at Beyonce. Wow, she came at the NBA, Obama and all of these people.
Kendrick,
and, for a long time, me personally, in the presence of certain company, I would not talk shit about Obama. There's enough gunpowder going off that I didn't want somebody to use me as the token. Well, my black friend said Obama's whack too. I didn't want that type of thing. And the same goes for the Nation of Islam. But there must be a very critical critique of those people and their ideology. And that's what she does on this. And she doesn't do it from a position of a high horse.
Yes. No.
She's not pointing down and saying, you know who's whack? this person's whack. You know what's whack? That's whack because they with that. Most of it is just like, look at this contradiction. Look at how this doesn't really benefit us.
And she's very quick to turn that on herself as well. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
self-consciousness that runs through this record. I think No Name has a lot of empathy for a lot of these, people in kind of situations, because otherwise the album wouldn't feel so joyful. It would be very easy, considering how many targets this album has. Late capitalism, the military-industrial complex, neoliberalism, beauty standards, all of these things. It would be very easy to make an album that is just like, dirgy, as Spade would put it.
It's one of the things that makes her great. The reason she got into leftist politics is because she said some shit. People started dragging her. She said, maybe I need to grow. Maybe I need to figure things out. Like, the way that she critiques herself on Beauty Supply, which is about black beauty standards, self-love, and the contradictions of self-hate, some of the things she's saying is just like, bro, like, I'm a part of this, but we don't need to. There's a problem here, but what is it, and how do we get circumvent that or figure it out?
That's what makes the album so beautiful, in my opinion, going back to having Jay Electronic on here. Like, it's all black, and we keep on saying black is not monolithic. We always say that. But then when somebody actually shows that and encompasses all the blackness, y'all want to shoot at her. To me, that is whack as fuck. Now, that's the problem. And once again, look at this damn panel, dog.
Negro.
Bruh.
British.
You gotta do a fusion. Nigga
I'm a whole bunch of
Pino.
shit,
These guys are left of left. I am not. But they don't fuck with me. Well, Marcus, you ain't left. Fuck, you get out of here.
One time I was like, nigga, you don't read theory.
Yeah,
read
right?
theory.
Like,
one time I was, but
bro, I don't want to read theory. He's like, no, you should read. I'm like, no, that's like, but we still kick it and hang out with each other. You know what? Because the coming through line is we still got this melanin, bro. Like, how you gonna shoot at her? So I don't know the controversy about it, but the fact that you did put all these like big people on this too.
Go Rihanna, go. What? Watch the Jet Fly. Yeah. War Machine get glamorized. We play games of this album, man. Like, I'm not quite sure. There's so many different songs on this album. I almost feel like we needed to do.
I have a bit of choice paralysis going on, honestly.
Yeah, I want to jump all over things. Let's start from the top a little bit and just kind of work our way through thoughts on
Black
Mirror.
Go beautiful. Like those harmonies, the introduction, the way it comes in, it's got a kind of Latin, like bossa nova flavor to it. The layeredness of it all is incredible. Just initially straight, or even before she starts rapping, you're like, oh my god, this is gorgeous. It sounds so fucking good. And then she gets off, consistently across the whole album. But she's a shadow walker, moonstalker, black author, librarian, contrarian, straight into this kind of not just like I'm dope like rap shit, but just so like encompassing mission, statement of intent, mission statement, and of course, you have this immediate. You see the introspection there, right? Is it socialism, sister? Am I supposed to feel this different? Like my rent's paid, the devil's dead. It's like it's real easy, when you're like a successful rapper to just be like, all right, things are good now. Like I make my rent. And I mean, it is one of my favorites on the album. Although
it's a tremendous opener.
Really incredible.
It is a bit of a statement of intent there.
What you said was so damn true. Like that sets the damn mood, and like I always say about mixes, and this is why mixes is so damn important. Like when them background vocals come in from the left and the right, it just draws you in, and then her vocals come straight up the middle. And it impacts you, man. Like that whole thing was beautifully set up. And the most powerful line on this joint that got me to say, "Oh, I'm in this joint," which is drifting in and out of consciousness like rappers do. She's a rapper too. I'm like, oh, I get what you're saying now, buddy. We all got our flaws,
like rappers do.
Yeah, Black Mirror really does. It's just like a beautiful opening. It kind of opens you up into the world of like her personality and who she is. And there's not anything particularly like pointed or something deeply philosophical being said there. There's a variety of things, and it's just like who she is.
Track, though.
She's an artist. Like at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I can say about this album is just like I feel grateful to have her in this space. Like, her personality is unique and different, but it's also one that so many people, male, female, they, them, other, or whatever, can find like these beautiful, poignant ideas being executed. And yeah, it was a great opener. I was like, all right, that's dope. She get a little bit abstract with the lyrics. She does come from a spoken word type of background, so she's also one of the best rappers.
Yeah.
And for coming from a spoken word background, the way that she flows, the way that she
ridiculous.
harmonizes her voice with these type of beats, her production choices for that works incredibly well. She's always been good with that. But, you know, if you move on to the second track,
Woo!
Hold Me Down.
Hey, it gets to be a problem here, buddy.
You wanna kick us off on Hold Me Down?
It gets real here, buddy. When Hold Me Down comes in, man, that's when you gotta like, man, get your popcorn and your Skittles ready, man. This may be my best favorite song on the album. I don't know, because so many damn many. But when this came in,
yeah, she got some bars on this shit, man. Yeah, she got some bars on this shit.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys can have it.
No, go off, man.
I'm also really into the contrast between the fact that she like really, really gets off on here, and there is like a bit of I don't want to say a scolding tone, but there is certainly.
I'm sick of this shit.
I'm sick of this shit going on.
Sick of this shit.
But also, it's like beautiful and loving. It's like Hold Me Down. Like you know, there's.
Yeah. Can
she
I
knows
count
she's
on
got
you
people
for a
behind
favor
us,
for a
behind
certain
her,
amount? Yeah.
We can scapegoat everything. We can penny pinch the homies or defend the dream. A simpler thing. I mean, dog. Like, yo, like, shout out to personal responsibility, man. Like, not playing. And I hate to say this because black folk play the victim too much. Yeah. But no, I love the way she straddles the fence on this one. And I probably shouldn't say straddle the fence. That sounds pejorative. Thread the needle. I like the way she thread the needle on this joint. Because it's like, yo, at some point you do got to look inward. Like, okay, what are we doing? Like, even the part where she's like, we killing ourselves? Yeah. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you're right.
The first black president, and he's the one who bombed us.
Like, here's the thing, right? You guys are super left, and I'm not. But I was also being like, didn't want to be the black guy like you, Megan, just said Obama was on some bullshit. Because I was that guy too. Like, man, I don't know some bullshit.
Yeah, just motherfucking shit.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, we gotta watch out. I mean, this is because black people are assaulted from all sides. You know, this is why I never talk shit about Louis Farrakhan, or this is why I don't really get into my bag about how terrible I think ADOS is. Like, I just don't. Like, it's not an argument for me. I leave it to other people and shit. But
black protectionism was stopped us from doing like great critiques like she's doing right now.
Right. We do need to have like ruthless critiques about people in our community, because there's a huge black misleadership class. When you listen to a lot of the most popular artists, it is deeply antisocial rap lyrics and detrimental and this perhaps detrimental.
Absolutely does identify this like false leadership that we have, you know, whether that's Obama or Kendrick or Jay-Z.
Even, and she doesn't even diagnose it like they're the ones doing wrong. Not. It's like people's perception of what they're doing is something that might be problematic.
But escapism, generational wealth, black capitalism as like an escape route from the material situations. Yes. You know, Noname comes at this from a materialist perspective. Even in spite of like some of the more abstract like lyrics and the nature of the record and her very like poignant ability to liken the broader social issue with the more mundane and kind of real situation of specifically black American lives. Although I also found a lot to relate to as a non-American on here. So.
Well, I mean, like the third track, Balloons, right? The one with Jay Electronica. Her second verse is questioning the voyeurism and selling of like expressed trauma. And I don't know if I've ever heard anybody really get to the point on a rap song about that. Of course, you've seen people discuss it in academic sense and even like a theoretical, even being like hyperbolic at it. But she really questions the idea about like, why do people want to see this trauma? Is it? She says, she can't tell if it's genuine or consumption. Analyze the gumption. Monopolize the landscape. She's just another artist selling trauma to her fan base. And I feel like I should pull up more of the lyrics, because there is just a very kind of like, she talks about, you know, how Casual white fans. Who invented the voyeur? Fascinated with mourning. Like not the morning, but actually, mourning. They hope the trauma destroyer. Why everybody love a good sad song, a dark album. Like tell me that your homie dead, your mama dead, your brother bled along the street, the corner where the Walgreens in the White Castle is. Ooh wee, yeah, we know that you miss him, and if you sing about his sister, we'll buy a ticket for real. Front row center still. Gratitude. She love them, but she can't tell if they genuine or if it's just consumption. Like the way that we kind of auction off and it's important because it's trauma and we need to get it out and we're allowed to do that.
Trauma sells, man. And she hit the nail on the head, man. It's so much of our music and everything is so based on trauma.
Deeply.
Spirituals, like those Negro spirituals would have been good. It wasn't for trauma, and that's how we're looked upon. And that's what she's hitting on this damn song, man.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody like really point it out. And the controversy was years ago. People were trying to drag her because she was just like, bro, like my music, I feel a way about having a predominantly white audience listening to this. Not saying anything wrong with black people, but it's kind of, it makes me feel a way, and I'm trying to navigate how I feel about that. And for the time being, I'm gonna take a step back. And I wasn't one to be, ugh, that's race, bro. If you listen to any of these, like I'll be on the NMF Doom subreddit sometimes, or I'll be on like name a Wu-Tang subreddit.
Yeah,
a lot of those lyrics, you think 5%ers is rocking with white people? Y'all is Yakub. Even Desus and Mero, y'all is Yakub. But we look at it like, oh my God, she's got Adolf Spittler with her. And it's very just interesting to kind of do this type of shit with it. Like it's something there needs to be more nuance in the critiquing of these people and the ideology that they're spitting. There's a reason that Jay Electronica is talking about, like, he's an anti-Zionist, he's a anti-Semite racist, but also here a joke like Zelensky, who is leading a large group of even identifying Nazi individuals in the Ukraine. That was a big talking point before Russia stepped in. There was a Nazi problem, and we just look at like, man, they're just, her nuance is so amazing that I just wish that more people would stop being so serious about
performing activism.
Fuck,
but that's the problem. A lot of this is performative, and that's the problem I have with a lot of quote unquote conscious rappers. To me, it comes off a bit performative if you're not really trying to enlighten or help. But this album right here, not this song right here, does a damn good job of like just putting all that on Front Street.
The shit that he's saying about like the 85ers and shit, like that is a certain demographic of people that Wu-Tang talks about, that Talib Kweli and Mos Def and pretty much anybody who was under the umbrella of conscious rap was really talking about. Like there's a lot of deeply antisocial and kind of strange ideology that flourishes out of popular mainstream culture, and it's not just the black folks that are fucking weird with
but making something for a specific group can't be deemed as a problematic either. I hate that when people be like, oh well, I made this for black people. Why you only make it for black people? What, people make stuff not for black people that we gravitate to all the damn time. So you should be able to make something for black people without that being a problem, people. It's only when black people try to make something for black people that everybody else jump in. Well, why can't everybody else be included? It's almost like saying the N-word again. Well, why can't we say it now? Like, I'm sorry, Jet.
Okay.
You got something?
I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So
we got a lot. Boom, boom, boom. Who got anything to say about that one?
This one's interesting to me because I think this is probably the most direct foray into the pop formula.
Featuring a singer named
Ione, who features on 2 tracks on here, I believe.
You're right.
And I love the hook on this. I think it's it's very danceable. It's got a bit of an Afro beat, like Asante like thing going on.
Where is the okay? Clock go boom boom. Yeah.
Clock go tick, kiss me pum pum, make a wish, make a wish, make a wish, make a wish. Yeah, very danceable. I can see this going off in the club. Like it's
it's wild because she got a bar on there that says WEB. I stay with the boys. It was there for you if you would have read Theory. Anybody could have got that shit off. I faded in noise. I echo infinity joy. Build and destroy. I mean, man. WEB. I stay with the boys.
The boys.
That shit is ill. Yeah, I'm fucking with it, man. Yeah, that is kind of the most kind of pop accessible type of.
It is also like very forwardly sexual, and that is something that has been true for a lot of No Name's work. She's always been a proponent of like the kind of very feminist like women's sexual agency. And honestly, like I even though I'm not someone who's normally a fan of like overly like explicitly sexual lyrics, I think it works really, really well on here, because it's all part of that like celebratory and liberatory politic that runs through the whole record.
It's a little joy, Like I worked in a reggae dancehall club bartending for long enough. Yeah, for about 3 years. And so like anytime somebody talking about the boom boom, I'm gonna be like, all right, we're gonna have to just deal with this one. Yeah, we're just gonna ride this one out. See where the night takes us. So yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Potential is just basically kind of like an interlude almost, right? It's just kind of a short.
Well, sorry, can I talk about the?
You want to jump on Boom Boom?
The Boom Boom real quick. Look, I'm saying, man, as a feminist myself who has blind spots, I like it when somebody can be serious and also embrace their sexuality. Like on this album, she goes in and out and talk about gender. Like, what's just somebody? You see gender 2 dimension, we in the 4th dimension. Like, there's a lot of stuff on here that alludes to gender and stuff like that. So I'm saying I love the way you can embrace your sexuality and still be hard as fuck.
She's a black woman,
Yeah,
like,
you should be able to do that because often black women are swatted down when they do that. So damn good job. I'm sorry. Just want to say that.
Yeah, no, that's a really dope track. Potential is really good. People say they love you, but they really love your potential, not the person. I don't have the lyrics in front of me for that.
Not the person that's in front of them, but the person you'll grow into.
Yeah, and it's pretty short. She said some shit about like rapping. If you were just a little bit more pretty, wrote a little more like Kenny. I'm guessing that's
Lamar.
That's Kung Fu Kenny that she's talking about.
Kung Fu Kenny.
Yeah, but and that's not a knock. That's somebody telling her what she needs to be,
props,
and
man.
it's like, bruh. Yeah, it's
which is also a wild thing to say because one, like, there's very few people who can rap, on a technical level like Kendrick Lamar, especially not in the mainstream. But also, No Name just freaks it different. Like, why would you want No Name to sound like Kendrick? No Name sounds like No Name, and that's like for a start, like, I am a fan of Kendrick Lamar, but like, a criticism I've heard, I believe Jeff Weiss might have said that like he sounds like the squeaky voiced teen from The Simpsons. His
voice kills me. I always say that. His voice kills
whereas No Name has like the best voice.
Yeah.
Like just the effortless coolness.
Yeah.
I see similarities in them though.
I mean, obviously, but sure. I think, there is a very, this is obviously something that is personal to her, but at the same time, she gets off on this track. She gets off on every track. Yeah. But she very much, knock knock potential. I don't give no fuck. This is the immediacy. And there is the immediacy to this record where it's like, look, this isn't about who you could be, if you were the version of yourself that Twitter wanted you to be. It's, or X or whatever it's called now. This is the No Name that you, as you receive her, on this record. And I really, I was surprised because on the version of the album we had, and I don't want to get too much into the unfinished version because I don't know what she wants to put out there, but I noticed on one of the, on the most recent version, it says like potentially an interlude. So I don't know if it's going to be listed as potential like interlude in brackets or something like that. Whereas it's just called potential on the version that I have here. And I believe on the track list she put out, it's just called potential.
If it's an interlude, this is an interlude with a lot of substance. Like,
oh yeah,
that is a damn good like interlude. If this is an interlude,
it's a great like splitting point for after Boom Boom.
Bring you back in.
Right in, and then
Namesake.
I think maybe for me my favorite verse on the whole album is her second verse on Namesake.
It's hard as fuck.
Oh my god,
it's hard as fuck.
This is why she's one of the best rappers out. Like, oh my god, that second verse on Namesake is just like that's some real. That's why there's levels, bro. Like there's like fucking levels in
all that shit. Yeah. Eat the rich, tax the rich. Y'all ain't really about that shit, bitch. If you want some money, you can say that. You deserve the payback. Yep.
These niggas took everything. Let's go get that and take it back to the hood, though. Share it with the community. We soldiers in plain clothes. I ain't fuck with the NFL and Jay-Z.
I was like,
I don't either. I was happy when motherfuckers was like, yeah, I'm not watching the NFL anymore because I don't got to talk to nobody about the NFL anymore. And as soon as motherfuckers came right back on that shit.
See, that's my whole problem with it. It's performative in nature. And that's my whole thing with a lot of people.
Well,
like, everybody jumped out, oh, no, we're banning the NFL. And as soon as the next season came on, y'all was like, yeah, man. Yeah. What about the San Francisco 49ers? But like I said, somebody's standing on principle. Yeah. I can always rock with that.
You could wear your Black Panther outfits and do a Super Bowl show and have, slave labor in Sri Lanka selling your shit, but I'm not gonna rock with it. And that's the track where she's like, go Rihanna, go Beyonce, go Kendrick, go. She's not shitting on him. She just talking, truth to power. She's talking truth to power. She's talking words to power, man. That's wise words. And yeah, she goes off. And it's not even what she's just saying. It's the flow. It's the bars. It's that hip hop hand. Yeah, hip hop is a certain hand. Oh yeah, it is a hip hop hand. Yeah. Oh, she's amazing. Her writing is amazing, and the way that she can make something sound like something that's so almost like venomous. Yeah, sound very elegant and feminine or whatever you want to like other adjective you want to ascribe to it. It's very beautifully fucking venomous. It's lovely, and then
Beauty Supply.
Because we go into like 30 minutes. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I gotta like talk about shit.
Minutes in now.
Yeah, we're halfway through the album. But Beauty Supply, she's talking about black beauty standards, self-love, the contradictions of self-hate, and
this track just sounds so good.
Yeah, like, it's produced by a person named Emil, I believe. I might have got that wrong.
Shout out to Emil then, because this track is beautiful. Dude.
It's gorgeous. Really, like it's so soulful. It sounds like, and the little like harmonies that come in, kind of like reminded me of like Sampha.
Okay.
Like the way that the harmonies come in, like it's not quite like a round, but Beauty Supply, ply. Like you have those like little layered harmonies that come in and out. And no one's like doing like a big display of singing ability. I think Noname probably can really, really like sing with the pipes if she needs to, but the coolness and the like soulful like R&B-ness of this track is really amazing. I love the bass line on here as well. Album, yeah. The way it actually sounds, the chords or like the Rhodes on top is really beautiful. Lots of little licks and bits here and there as well.
The meaning though is way so at the heavier than everything. Yep. Like the fresh out the box, a bundle 250 Rapunzel make pennies. Oh my God! I mean,
support the black business, no compromise. I lied to self, say this is self-love, to braid my hair down and masquerade hers because I just want to be the love of my life, set aside my own standard and really demand hers. Silly and absurd, wearing a fur cap, wig hat, and then preach I love everything black. Mm-hmm. I know it seems cap, it's cap. Wig caps detract, bro.
It's a cap.
You know what I mean? And then she's like. She says, sabotage. I'ma hold me back like new identity, same enemy, me. When I believe I'm prettier with my weave, when I can see the forest behind the trees, I'll be free. I'll be free. And then she goes on to talk about infantile, like looking good, infantiling baby hair that men like and Eurocentric aspects of it. Idolize your white bitch while I rock a toupee, cosplay new identity, same me, enemy.
It's a frustration that, I think maybe among men it's not talked about as much, but I do a lot of fashion modeling work out here in Tokyo. Yeah. Spade, you're also involved in the modeling acting scene out here.
I'm the only ugly one.
And like as like a kind of ethnically ambiguous biracial person, I've definitely dealt with that kind of thing of like, where they'll like dress me up a certain way. They make me look like I'm like half Japanese or something. I'm like, oh man, I look good here, Or they like push away from the blackness, they hide the afro. They, I'm wearing something. I'm dressed a certain way, and I've definitely looked at myself in the mirror and be like, oh man, I look good right now. And like, I feel like you shouldn't feel like, it's difficult having to be confronted with the reality of like, oh, I think I look good right now because these Eurocentric beauty standards are so deeply ingrained in all of us, especially, you out here in Asia, like the amount of like white idolization that you see among people, it's difficult. It's not something that, I understand the willingness to self-flagellate, but at the same time, No Name probably looks real good with a weave on. I get it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say No Name is fine as hell, and I mean that in the most respectful way, not and platonically homie type of way. Yeah,
that's the thing that I was forced to agree with this song, man. That I myself deal with like ingrained Eurocentric ideas of beauty. On this panel, I'm the darkest one. However, in certain circles in America, I'm the light-skinned one, right? And with that comes some kind of certain unsaid level of privilege that comes with that. Because colorism is a real thing, man. And I deal with that as a man who dates outside of his race. Also, what standards do I look for in beauty? Because I can see black women with natural hair, and every time I see a black woman with natural, especially in Japan, I always say, yo, your hair is beautiful.
Well, one of the things about Japan is that the black women out here don't have access to the same hair supplies. So a lot of black women here in Japan wear their hair more natural. When my sister came out here, she brought her flat iron, but she forgot to bring her whatever flat oil, her oil and shit. So we walking all over the place, and I'm hitting up Shalice, I'm hitting up everybody like, where you get? And she's like, I don't know, I wear my hair natural out here. My sister is so used to laying her hair down and doing all types of other things to her hair that might be construed as Eurocentric or trying to appease that and that passing whiteness. And out here is different. It's a little bit,
man. Like, even me,
it's the thing.
Like, I'll tell the story about why I got dreads another time. But basically, I did it because somebody said that a student I was teaching was like, "Yo, that's the gangster hairstyle," and I was like, "What?" Like, this was the style of crime. So to break that, this is I got this hairstyle. Now you can talk about a criminal. Right, that's basically why I grew these dreads out.
That's why they stopped you in Shinjuku too.
Stuff like that happened too. Yeah. But like, I love this song how it walks that line of like.
It's one of the things that in all of the kind of the event organizing type of talks that we've done at the Soul Food House, the Legacy Lounge here, like the idea of black beauty standards, self-love and self-hate, and the contradictions between those things are so nuance, and to hear it kind of broke down from this perspective is one that I haven't necessarily heard before, and especially if I did, it wasn't as musically
it wasn't as good as this. I've heard this topic before, but this is the best I've ever heard this topic packed.
She says, honestly. Same enemy, me. When I believe I'm prettier with my weave, when I can see the forest from the trees, I'll be free. Yeah, it's just really good. I feel as though we're going on long. I know I said it would be fine. Is that fine?
We're 8 tracks in. We're 8 tracks in. Let's go 9, 10, 11.
Yeah. Toxic. Produced by Saba, Ben Nartley, and AJ Halls. This is the type of song I actually didn't want my girl to hear back in the 20s and shit. Because this is the one that was like, hey, bro.
Hey, I'm full of shit, right? You know I'm full of shit. You know I'm garbage, right?
Hey, hold on. Yeah, I know the dick is mid. Come on, calm down here. I was tired. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is it's a really good song. I actually don't have many other notes on it other than the fact that I wouldn't want my girl to hear this back in the. This is black empowerment shit.
It's nice, like low key, because there's a lot of like beneath the surface, barely contained fury, and I think No Name is very conscious of like not coming across as like angry black woman stereotype. That's something that's been leveled at her by so many people over the years. And on this track, she says "fuck you, nigga," and she says it so aggressively. She puts a whole arm in it, like
multiple times.
Yeah.
But she also said a good thing. While you're still calling out like a lot of guys on their bullshit, she said something so powerful, like, yes, go ahead and raise your son.
Raise your son.
I'm like, that's something that I think needs to be like highlighted and praised. The fact that you can be like, I'm angry, this is some bullshit, you guys treating women like shit, but look, man, you need to be there for your seeds, and we're gonna be co-parents and get that shit popping. I thought that was great, man. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm some bullshit, but my bullshitting shouldn't stop me from seeing my seed, son.
That was one of the tracks where I felt like I needed to kind of like think about exactly what was being said, and I kind of want to unpackage more of the meaning behind it, because it's obviously dense and saying something very specific. It's like like a version, a bit of like, what was that Kendrick Lamar track on his album where he's having domestic violence argument, but like kind of better from the woman's
like,
you know what I mean? Like actually
better.
not,
you know what? You're right.
actually not fucking ridiculous. Yeah, and I kind of wanted to dwell on it more because luckily for me, I wasn't tremendously toxic where I was in relationships like that, or so it's kind of like me trying to figure out the movie to a degree, even though I know people that's living like that, and my folks, my cousin, my nephews, people who's like that. I felt like I need to listen to that one a little bit more. I feel like I needed to get more out of it.
Well,
like there was more going
man,
on. Yeah, I like it. It's just I was just like, maybe I need to let
so
this one
funny,
cook for me.
Cause you did the same thing on the Kendrick track, and that is a good like comparison. That Kendrick track, this one, I will say,
I just think this track works better as a song than "We Cry Together" does. Where "We Cry Together" is just a it's like the
Lin-Manuel fucking Hamilton fucking
right, exactly.
skit bull.
I will say
song,
the clean version is absolutely hilarious. Just you.
I will rock that.
That was very, very funny.
I'll have to put that to the DJ playlist.
Like the clean version, good song. But I'm sure the clean version of this one will also be kind of funny. Had a whole baby on me. But
I mean, that's so, I think you said in the group chat, Jet, that this was like the Kendrick album if it was good.
I was being mean. I do not like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I really like one or two songs off of it, but the rest of it is just kind of like
I love the album, so
to get to the next track, is that cool?
Afro
Futurism. This is actually one of my favorite songs on the album, produced by Nascent. I love the drums on this. They're a bit off and a bit strange, and that's Afro Futurism. It's more abstract than usual, and it ends with joy. And I really, I'm a person who I wouldn't say I identify as a feminist. I don't read feminist theory. I think most of my politics are in line with women's liberational politics, and a lot of the work that is now considered feminist that I read before, triple oppression and things like that, is not necessarily in line with intersectionality and things. But Afrofuturism is something that I've slowly been getting more into, and I think it really aligns with some of my old anarchist tendencies and thoughts about the way that we perceive the world. I think that Afrofuturism is almost the antithesis to Afropessimism.
Yes.
And I love that the drums on this. I love that the drums on this are kind of off and a little bit less 4/4 measured. Of course, there's a count to it. I didn't count them, but that's the thing about Afrofuturism. It's imagining new potential possibilities. It's removing ourselves from a present that is controlled by our perception of time, that is, the Gregorian calendar and things that have been put onto us, and colonialism and the way that we structure time and now and ourselves and our ideas of selves and our ancestors, and how we can project into a future of blackness that is joyful and different and amazing. And on this track, her flow is kind of off. No incentive to ask up, and what she's saying is great, and this is kind of, I love imagining a time like this, blackness that is timeless and a deep atemporal aspect that is pervasive. Like, I don't know what it is about blackness, bro, but like I feel deeply connected to black people without having to say like, oh yeah, we all watch Friday together, or our cultural things. There's an atemporal aspect of it, like the blackness that I would hear Saul Williams talk about, that deep, that primordial uncarved block, the original man beyond light, the ultraviolet God. Like there's something that's really beautiful about Afropessimism, and I love that her and like Moormother are two incredible black women. Actually, I don't know.
Futurism.
What did I say?
You said Afropessimism.
Afropessimism. Frank Wilderson III. I'm glad that he's a strong black woman. I think he has a white wife. No, I'm just kidding. But Afropessimism is trash. I will go on record and say that, and I would love to debate anybody if you want to get at me. I read all the Afropessimism shit. But anyways, this song is great. And the way that it ends, the sky says I'm still alive. The sky says I'm still alive. The sky says we're still alive. Bro, this song going into gospel is where I was like, I'm so emotional right now, bro.
I can't top that, man. Never go to the next song.
I'm so fucking emotional right now.
I can't top that.
I just started to feel like this, you know, in being like a half black person, there's a part of me that like Malcolm X, like I wanted to be blacker, you know, like my father was upset with his mother because she wanted to look whiter in the 1940s. You know what I mean? And there's like something that obviously like I embrace this black radical tradition. These black politics is a big part of my life. But man, there's like a metaphysical breakthrough that I was starting to get from this album that was just deeply endearing to me, bro. I was getting emotional. I text you, I'm lonely. Somebody talk to me. Something's going to happen here. But yeah, man, that song, it's one of my favorite. And her verse is so good. I don't want to do it any injustice. Injustice. I don't want to do it any misjustice. Anti-justice, because her flow on it is just choppy and strange and unique and different, and it's metaphorical, and the imagery is like, what am I getting? Let me try to figure it out, man. My ancestors didn't imagine me having no cars. My ancestors imagined me being able to eat and sleep when I wanted. Like, this shit is crazy, man. This album is crazy. Anybody got something else to say about Afro Futurism?
Let's move on.
All right.
Yeah, you did it.
Gospel.
Gospel. Silk Money, Woods, Stout, produced by Gatum Judd.
Oh God!
This is one of the best songs of the year, bro. This is one of the best songs of the year. It's incredible.
Yes.
Billy Woods fans is going to lose it. I just imagine they would. This is one of my all-time, like, immediately it propelled itself into like one of my favorite Woods verses.
You did that.
Ever.
You did that, No Name. You did that.
Like, you know, when the beat comes on, because the beat is kind of like, it's very kind of church-like, gospel, spiritual, kind of upliftment, black church type of vibe. And I was like, how is Woods going to sound over this shit? This is going to be a strange experience, because she goes off for her bars. Silk Money comes in, spitting hot fire. I'm not going to lie. I'm not surprised to hear the Fugees is FBI.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, whoa,
oh, like, bro,
not White Con Jones, not White Clef Jones.
Talk to him. I was like, bro, he getting off, and I didn't know who Silk Money was like that. Somebody was like, yo, the new No Name. If you don't know Silk Money, go check out Silk Money. I heed the word. I'm gonna follow it, because on this shit, he goes,
Dude goes bananas,
trading
bonkers.
our fears of a white God in exchange for eternal pride. He goes off. It's fucking crazy. He goes off. Yeah, but No Name too. Like, there's just something so beautiful. Like, by the time I got to the end of that Woods verse, I was almost in tears. Like, it just hit me. Woods verse, like I was saying earlier, I think this is about his childhood in Zimbabwe, and I think that he was maybe at a Robert Mugabe speech with his father on this shit, because we don't have the lyrics on that, but man, like, what he's saying is some of the, like, it is like you said about Woods before, right? Very abstract. Sometimes it's hard to get. If you cannot follow what's going on in this Woods verse, you are not trying to listen.
You're not trying.
This is one of the most clear, concise. Let me walk you through this wonderful, like, this experience, and the way that he ties all this shit together. Like, he ends the shit so powerful, and it's just like, man, what does he say? Hold up. I wrote some lyrics. The crowd sway to gospel of liberation, poised for revolution. Little red book in my father's breast pocket. That's Mao, baby.
Yeah, Mao.
The ground shook, history moving underfoot. I was on his shoulders. He goes on to say, the leader spoke slow and focused, powerful pauses, flanked by soldiers with dead eyes. The sun catches his wire-rimmed glasses. Told him roll the boulder. Lo and behold, Lazarus was alive.
Second Lazarus rebirth illusion reference on the album.
Shout out to Electronica.
Well.
Yeah. We doing Lazarus. I mean, that's from the playbook of black liberatory politics. You know, we coming back from this shit. We alive, bro.
This is an ode to Haiti, Mozambique, Martinique, Trinidad, Grenada, wherever black people sleep. Pray for them. Pray for me.
Pray for them. Pray for me. And I'm not, you know, I'm a materialist. I'm a Marxist. I don't have a spiritual ideology tied to any of the Judeo-Abrahamic religions, but I still be feeling that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, one more Woods part. The end of Woods verse. Feeling like we won. Roadblocks manned by mere boys. Wide smiles and long black guns. His imagery, like,
every
long
time.
Black guns, like, manned by mere boys. Like he's just, man, I feel like when I listen to him, there's something magical. It's like deeper. It's like a Mary Baraka. It's like Langston Hughes. It's like this rich, radical tradition of words being our way of condensing this experience into something that we can all like temporally just latch onto. And like, bro, I'm not from Zimbabwe. I didn't go through that revolution. Like, I don't even know where my people were from in Africa. You know what I mean? Like, but yo, history will absolve Robert Mugabe.
Well, so this is the thing. I'm from the deep South in America, the Bible Belt, and for me, I don't rock religion myself. But for me, I grew up seeing how gospel and gospel music was one of the things that uplifted people in my community. And that's what this song did. So it's amply named gospel because gospel music was the only thing a lot of people in the South had to uplift them. Like, for all intents and purposes, the church was the club, the communal place where everybody came together. And we had to kind of boost ourselves up and give ourselves a little bit of courage. You came up there to get that little fill up in your soul and your spirit, and this song does that. So gospel to me doesn't have to be this religious type thing, but it's a whole thing where black people come together and even the suffering, like I said, the Negro spirituals, it was all gospels, right? That uplifted black people.
Blues, jazz,
inseparable,
funk, like, and you know, Wood's verse doesn't have a hint of spirituality to it. I mean, it does with the roll the boulder Lazarus lines, and it does, but it is not overtly religious whatsoever. It is about a communal experience of them coming together under this leadership and feeling renewed and being born again towards revolution, feeling though that they were going to get free, and to do so with wide smiles and long black guns. I mean, bro,
well, that's the thing. Most black gospel songs, if you actually look at the lyrics, most of them, they have God in them, but a lot of
it's not like
uplifting.
Jesus Christ gonna give me a high five in the car.
Most of it's like we gonna make it through and then
word.
That's what this is.
It's one of that song is one of the more beautiful things, and it's weird because that Silk Money verse is so aggressively hard. It's so aggressively hard, but man, like, I'm just listening to it like, talk that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you hear No Name and he's like, pray for me. It's like, yeah, no doubt, I feel you. And then Silk Money is like, fuck the Fuji. You're like, word, nigga, just come on, do it. And when they get to the end of that, because the drums drop out, and then Woods goes off, man, oh man, my God, this album is perfect.
Maybe the best produced track on this whole album. I'm maybe not my favorite track, but the production on this track may be the best on the whole album.
I just, something about it was just so powerful to me. You know, music is supposed to move you and shit like that, and like I really like a lot of these songs. There's some that I wouldn't say that were necessarily my favorite, but I appreciate the sound qualities. But man, there's moments on this album that really made me just feel like, damn, man, like, it's good. You feel like the world gets smaller and bigger at the same time. This one is just great.
Which
Oblivion,
which I would say, man, you gotta say something good about sequencing. Like, you did a perfect job sequencing this album.
Very well sequenced album.
Oblivion, in my opinion, was the weakest track on the album, and the place it last was genius. Genius, in my opinion.
I like Oblivion. I thought it was a good ender. I'm not the biggest fan of Common for a couple reasons or whatever. I just think that he's pretty corny a lot of times. I appreciate a lot of his older work. I haven't really cared for his shit. Yeah, but but I thought his verse was really good. I thought it was a strong ender to the album.
Although No Name's second verse on here might be my second favorite. My favorite verse on the album.
Really?
I love really her second verse on here. Easily offended. I need a minute. Sorry, opinionated. Atari niggas play too much. I'm that bitch. You smell like cat piss on popcorn. Eat the popcorn. This is Tubi nigga. Low budget. Whole summer ready to go dummy for me. Like, that is so
a black god made me a black god. Oh, it hurt, don't it? Man, she don't. She ain't working on it, twerking on it. I don't need no pictures. Don't need no persona. I'm that bitch. She hard. I do.
Styling.
You know, yeah,
I just going in the album. I think it's my production wise. I think it's the weakest track.
Okay, I'm not mad at you. Like, you know, for me, my favorite, man. It's hard to get into. Overall, man, I don't have. I'm glad. I was nervous to listen to this album, and of the three of us, I was the last one to turn it on, even though I was the first one to give it to y'all. Like I was just nervous because there's a thing. It's like I wasn't worried it was going to be a bad album at all. She's too good of an artist. It's just going to be. I was worried that it might be an album that I didn't like, and I didn't want to be disappointed, and I wasn't. There's a few songs on here that, to be honest with you, I probably won't go back to them all that often, but the songs that are on here that I do love and that I've been listening to on repeat for the last few days, man, it's some of the best music that I've heard in my life. Like she is a very kind of seminal, like I don't even know how to explain it. She is a very individual artist that I'm not quite sure if there's a voice like this in hip hop music or music in general. And like I just feel like it's such an underserved community. Like, why don't more people value hip hop music for like the incredible, deeply dense, political, like socioeconomic, like there's just so much clouding hip hop music to the general public that an artist like Noname, man, she really makes me just punctuate the fact like hip hop is incredible. Don't ever try to tell me some shit. Most people don't know where hip hop went quietly. That's the thing. Most people don't know where hip hop went quietly and haven't been on the radio like that for most of our lives. So I don't know, man. I love this album. This is a contender for easily going to be a top 3 album of the year for me. I'm waiting on that Arm & Hammer because you guys know I'm such a fucking mark for Billy Woods and Elucid and them. That the production on that shit sounds crazy. How you got JPEG tracks
producing what's
it's going to be between probably those two, I imagine.
Arm & Hammer coming out with another album.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be pretentious.
I mean,
I'm sorry, guys.
Only as pretentious as this show, yeah, which is very pretentious apparently. But
call back, guys.
Yeah,
go watch.
You can't watch it. You got to be a Patreon to watch it.
I do.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
put that money down. You do it for a month.
I'm not apologizing for that no more.
$1, $5, Buster. No, yeah. If any of the Patreons want it, hit me up. Or if you're just a follower and I've seen your name before, hit me up. I'll give you access to those Woods, those album reviews. They're quite interesting. But man, Noname, we took a lot of time on this. I'm happy.
I hope we did it
get
justice.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I got so much more to say about it.
Like dead ass, I don't really talk so much about how I feel on albums, because most albums don't make me feel, but this one did, and that's a sign of a masterpiece. In all honesty, I generally don't, like I said, even though I feel a lot of stuff on a lot of stuff we review, I feel a lot of stuff. I just don't talk about it because I try to disconnect from that, because I do feel like emotions are connected to music, and music has made people, not even gonna say made people, but inspired people to do great and stupid things. I come from a city of just mood music where when you hear tear the club up, you actually go tear the damn club up, right? Because music can invoke that emotion. And I try to disconnect myself from that. That's why I don't digest my music like that. But this right here, it just did my soul good to hear this, and it filled me up. So thank you for like putting this out there. And anybody, like, I don't give a damn what kind of quote unquote genre of music you listen to, man. Listen to this, man. You will be thoroughly pleased and filled.
Year 5, Spade's gonna be reading Theory. Year 5.
We'll get to it.
I have enjoyed every Noname album. I think Telephone is excellent. I think Room 25 might be even better. But this is an actualization of everything that I could ask for from an artist whose music I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's an album that made me laugh. It's an album that made me get very emotional. It's an album that was uplifting. It was an album that made me feel a sense of security in my blackness, in spite of the fact that I am neither wholly black nor American. I think that this is an
primordial
album
uncarved block,
that
dog.
is going to. I ain't talking about no epigenetics, but I think this album is going to speak to a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to fucking hate this record, and I suspect that it's going to get very ugly on Twitter in a few days. And
X.
fuck X, whatever. Fuck those people. Fuck Elon Musk too, but fuck those people. This is, because people are going to set out to be mad at this. People are going to go straight to the J Electronica verse and listen to that first.
Not everything is for you.
But not everything is for you. But yeah, this album, whether or not it was
Put
for
some money
me
in the
personally,
pockets.
put some money in a pocket.
Put some money in the
I'm buying this album. Yeah,
independent.
I'm buying this. Thanks for saying that. And we don't rate albums no more, but damn it, this is a 9.8. And I won't say 10 because it got to be something wrong with it.
What do y'all got for your top favorite tracks? Top 3?
Oh, can I just say all of them?
Yeah.
No.
I've got Namesake, Gospel, Afro Futurism.
Namesake might
Beauty
actually be
Supply.
my least favorite on the album, oddly enough. But I would probably go with
Potential,
Black Mirror, Beauty
Balloons,
Supply,
Hold Me
Afro
Down,
Futurism, Gospel.
Hold
Black
Me Down, Gospel, and definitely Hold Me Down, Gospel, and you put a gun to my head, I would probably say, Boom Boom. There you go.
Secret House Against
Secret
the World.
House.
Like, subscribe. This was a long video.
You need to break this in parts,
Yeah,
bro.
word.
Part 3.
Peace.
Catholicism, of course, will confuse you. It presents things only as one-sided, that things are only one side. When they talk about the Indians and the cowboys, you just get the cowboy side, not the Indian side. When they talk about the struggle in Palestine, it's just the Zionists, never the Palestine. I mean, never. The other day, someone was sitting down looking at a movie. It was a movie about how these, the Jewish people had suffered, and now because they're suffering, they were going to Palestine, a Zionist picture. So it was on television. So I walked out the room. Someone said, "Oh, you are so racist." I said, "I'm racist." "Yes, this is a story. It's just a story about people suffering, and just that suffering, and you think." I said, "When last have you seen a picture of a Palestinian family suffering on television? You will never see it. You will never see it because they don't want to work up your sentiments to support the Palestinians. So the only stories you see are suffering stories of them all the time, all the time, all the time."